24/7. 5 years later, the drama came in. The red flag was the oozing from my ears, from my forehead, the whole nape around my head, the pus. It had a horrible smell. It was painful. I let this go by for...
They made the whole world laugh at her body. Then they almost destroyed the girl inside it. Fat jokes every episode. Comparisons to her white co-star's body. Wigs glued on so long her scalp started leaking pus. An abortion at 18 so the show wouldn't get canceled. And a man who allegedly threw bleach in her face just to keep her from working. You knew her as Kim Parker, the loud, hilarious best friend on Moesha. What you didn't know is how much that laughter was killing her. This is the real story of Countess Vaughn, and once you hear it, you will never look at those old episodes the same way again. Chapter 1. The day a 9-year-old became a commodity. It was 1988. The lights on the Star Search stage burned hotter than the Oklahoma sun. 9-year-old Countess Danielle Vaughn stood in the center, gripping the microphone like it was the only solid thing in the world. Back home in Idabel, a tiny town of just over 7,000 people, the August heat made your clothes stick to your skin before you even left the house. But under those studio lights, everything felt different. This was the moment that would decide her life. She opened her mouth and sang, "I'll be there." Her voice was too big for her small body, clear, powerful, full of something the judges couldn't ignore. When the last note faded, they were already on their feet. She won the junior vocalist category and the overall junior champion title. In that single moment, the little girl from the church choir stopped being just a talented kid. She became a product. Born August 8th, 1978, to Sandra and Leo Vaughn, Countess grew up soaked in music and faith. By age 3, she was already singing in front of the congregation. The wooden pews, the smell of old hymn books, the colored light through stained glass windows. Those memories stayed with her forever. Singing was how she spoke to the world. Her parents saw the gift early and protected it the best they could in a town where big dreams usually stayed dreams. But Idabel was never going to be big enough. After the Star Search win, Hollywood moved fast. There were already whispers that the little girl with the big voice had something special and something marketable. Some industry people quietly said she had the kind of face and energy that could be shaped into whatever the camera needed. Others were less kind. Even at 9 years old, comments about her weight and appearance had already started floating around. By the time she turned 9, she was cast as Alexandria DeWitt on the NBC sitcom 227, working alongside veterans like Marla Gibbs. She was a child learning adult rules, long hours, memorized lines, constant pressure to deliver. On that set, she later admitted, not everyone was gentle. She overheard people calling her fat, black, and ugly. Those words hit a 9-year-old who was still trying to understand who she was. Still, the work kept coming. Guest roles on Thea, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, and Rock. An album in 1992. She was still a teenager trying to balance singing, acting, and growing up under the spotlight. Then came 1996. At just 17, she landed the role that would freeze her in time for an entire generation. Kim Parker on Moesha. Loud, sassy, unapologetic. The best friend who owned every room she walked into. Audiences fell in love instantly. By 1999, she had her own show, The Parkers, opposite Monique. Kim Parker wasn't just a character anymore. She was a cultural icon. But the little girl who won Star Search in 1988 never got to decide what kind of star she would become. From the moment she stepped off that stage, the industry began measuring her. Not just her talent, but her body, her energy, her usefulness. The compliments always came with conditions. The roles always came with a price. And somewhere in those early years, between the church choir and the laugh track, the first cracks had already started to form. Chapter 2. They turned her body into the punchline. They wrote the jokes. She had to smile through every single one. The set of Moesha in the mid-1990s was loud, bright, and full of energy. 17-year-old Countess Vaughn walked onto that soundstage every day as Kim Parker, the loudest, sassiest, most unforgettable best friend on television. She delivered her lines with perfect timing. The live audience exploded with laughter. Millions of people at home fell in love with her. But behind the smile, something ugly was happening. The writers decided early that Kim's comedy would often come from her body. Fat jokes, weight jabs, lines that made her size the entire punchline. The problem was simple. Countess wasn't even that big. She was still a teenager, still growing, still figuring out her own reflection. The scripts didn't care. In one early episode, the dialogue cut straight to the bone. Kim says something light. Someone fires back, "Oh, it's baby fat." Another voice answers without missing a beat, "No, it's fat baby." The audience howled. Kim Parker laughed on cue. Countess felt the sting every time. Day after day, the pattern repeated. Rehearsals became quiet wars with herself. Between takes, she would stand in her trailer, staring into the mirror, adjusting her clothes, wondering if today's joke would cut deeper than yesterday's. The set that was supposed to feel like a dream slowly turned into a minefield. Then came the comparisons that hurt the most. Jenna Von Oy, who played Stevie, was white, petite, and constantly held up as the better body. People on set didn't even try to lower their voices. "You're a black girl, but her butt is bigger than yours." The comments came from crew members, from makeup chairs, from casual conversations floating around the soundstage. It wasn't one moment. It was constant, a slow, steady drip of poison. Years later, in 2022 interviews with Essence and Black Enterprise, Countess finally said it out loud. "They used to clown me on the show. They'd be like, 'You a black girl, and Jenna Von Oy's butt is bigger than yours, and she's a white girl.' That used to bother the heck out of me." Imagine being a young, dark-skinned black actress in the 1990s, already carrying the pressure of limited roles, forced to laugh while your body is publicly dissected and compared to a white co-star's. The audience saw the funny best friend. What they never saw was the girl going home at night, replaying every joke, questioning every part of herself. Hollywood had already decided who she was allowed to be, the fat kid, before her body had even finished growing. The label stuck, and it hurt. The damage went deeper than words. The constant shaming wore her down until she started looking for a way to fight back. The comparisons to Jenna haunted her. In an industry that only celebrated certain shapes, she felt she had to do something, anything, to feel enough. That decision led her to butt injections. It wasn't vanity, it was exhaustion. It was survival. While the cameras rolled and the laugh track played, Countess was performing two roles at once: the unbreakable Kim Parker on screen and a young woman quietly falling apart off screen. Every fat joke delivered with a smile was another crack in her armor. Every whispered comparison was another reminder that talent alone was never enough, especially not for a young black woman who dared to take up space. The irony was cruel. Kim Parker was loved precisely because she was bold and unapologetic. The actress bringing her to life was being taught every single day to apologize for the same body that made the character iconic. The set that made her a star was also the place where her deepest insecurities took root. And those roots would grow stronger with time, shaping not just her career, but how she saw herself for years to come. Chapter 3. The scars she hid behind the smile. She wore the wigs until her scalp started to rot. By the early 2000s, Countess Vaughn was no longer just the funny best friend. She was the star of the Parkers. The bright lights, the live audience, the constant energy, everything looked like success. But under the surface, her body had begun a quiet war she never agreed to fight. It started with the lace front wigs. Like so many black actresses, she needed that perfect, camera-ready hairline. So she wore them almost every hour of every day. She slept in them. She lived in them. The glue became part of her skin. At first, it felt like power, control over how the world saw her. Then the pain began. Itching, redness, then the oozing. Pus leaked from her hairline around her ears, across her forehead. The smell was sharp and humiliating. Her skin blistered and peeled. On The Doctors and later on Hollywood Divas, she described the horror of looking in the mirror and seeing her own scalp reject her. She endured it for 6 long months. Why? Because in an industry that only rewards perfection, admitting the damage felt like career suicide. Who would hire the actress whose head was literally falling apart? So she stayed silent. More wigs, more makeup, more smiles. Her hairline retreated, her confidence followed. But the deepest wound wasn't on her scalp. At 18, just as the Parkers was about to launch, Countess discovered she was pregnant. The timing was brutal. In the unforgiving world of late 90s and early 2000s Black Hollywood, a young actress showing up pregnant was often treated like a liability. During a raw therapy session on Hollywood Divas in 2014, she said the words that still hurt to hear. "They'd get rid of you. I had to make a decision to get rid of the child for my career." She was barely an adult. Standing at the edge of the biggest opportunity of her life, she was forced to choose between the dream she had chased since she was 9 years old and a child she would never meet. She chose the dream. And for years afterward, she carried the quiet, private grief of that choice like a second skin. Hollywood didn't just take her time and her talent. In that moment, it took a piece of her future. The battles kept coming. Years later, her body turned against her again. Vitiligo began stealing the pigment from her skin. Thyroid disease affected her eyes and her weight. What should have been private medical struggles became public entertainment. In 2023, reality star Hazel E. mocked her appearance on camera. The internet piled on without mercy. The same industry that once celebrated her now seemed to take pleasure in watching her body change in ways she couldn't control. Through all of it, Countess kept showing up. She kept delivering the loud, funny energy fans expected. But inside, she was losing pieces of herself. Her hair, her skin, the child she never got to hold, and slowly, her sense of worth. Every scar, visible and invisible, was a receipt for the price of staying in the spotlight. Yet somewhere in that pain, something quieter and stronger began to grow. She later said the struggles became lessons she refused to pass down to her daughter. "I had to go through this to teach my little one that you have to love yourself before anyone else will." The girl who once sang on Star Search with pure joy had become a woman who understood the real cost of fame. The laughter from her iconic roles still echoed, but the silence of everything she endured spoke even louder. Chapter 4. When Home Became the Battlefield. He allegedly threw bleach in her face just to stop her from working. In 2018, while the world kept judging Countess Vaughn's appearance and laughing at her changes, a much darker war was happening behind the doors of her own home. The cameras still loved her. The red carpets, the interviews, the careful smiles. Everything looked like resilience. But inside those walls, she was allegedly fighting for her safety against the one person who was supposed to protect her. Her longtime boyfriend, David Benjamin Richard Whitten, had been in her life for years. What began as a relationship slowly turned into something far more dangerous. According to court documents obtained by TMZ and reported by TV One, Ebony, and Black America Web, in August 2018, Countess filed for and was granted a restraining order against him. The allegations were severe. Years of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse that left her trapped between the image the public saw and the terror she lived with in private. One incident stood out as especially brutal. In June 2018, court filings claimed that Whitten threw bleach directly into her face. The reason, according to the documents, was to stop her from working, to keep her opportunities from growing. The chemical burned her skin. Imagine the moment. The sudden sting, the panic as she tried to wash it off. The sick realization that the man she had trusted would go that far to control her. This was not described as a single explosion of anger. The papers outlined a pattern of control that had lasted for years. Every time her career showed even a small sign of momentum, he allegedly worked to sabotage it. The emotional weight of that situation is hard to fully measure. Here was a woman who had already survived public body shaming, painful scalp infections from years of wigs, and the quiet grief of a choice she made at 18. Now the person closest to her was allegedly using her deepest vulnerabilities against her. The public still saw the strong, fawny actress who could make people laugh. They never saw the woman living in fear inside her own house, carrying both visible and invisible wounds while still having to show up and perform strength. Filing for the restraining order was a turning point. A Los Angeles judge granted it, recognizing the seriousness of the claims. For Countess, it was an act of courage mixed with deep sadness. She had to expose her private pain in order to protect herself. The media covered the story, but many headlines focused more on the drama than on the human cost of what she was enduring. In the years that followed, she rarely spoke in detail about that relationship. She turned her energy toward healing, toward raising her children, and toward slowly taking back control of her own story. But the 2018 allegations remain a harsh reminder of a truth many survivors know. Fame does not protect you. Success does not shield you. Sometimes the most dangerous place in the world is the one you are supposed to call home. The bleach was not just an act of violence. It was an attempt to dim her light at the exact moment she was trying to shine again. And yet, even in that darkness, something in her refused to stay broken. She filed the papers. She asked for protection. She chose herself, for her children, for her peace, and for the future she still believed she deserved. That private hell did not define her, but it became another undeniable layer in the story of a woman who had already faced Hollywood's cruelty, her own body's betrayal, and now the deepest kind of intimate betrayal, and was still standing. Chapter 5. The Quiet Strength No One Expected. The world kept waiting for her to fall. She chose to stay standing instead. After years of storms that would have broken most people, Countess Vaughn did not return with a dramatic Hollywood comeback. There was no big interview special, no perfectly scripted redemption arc. She simply kept living, quietly, steadily, on her own terms. Today, at 47, she is no longer just the memory of Kim Parker. She is a mother, a survivor, a woman who took the heaviest parts of her story and turned them into something quieter and stronger. Her greatest joy has always been her 2 children. Her son, Jalen, born in 2003 from her marriage to Joseph James, and her daughter, Sasha, born in 2009. Motherhood became the one place the industry could not reach. In the middle of health battles, public judgment, and private pain, she focused on raising them with the self-love she had to fight so hard to learn for herself. She has said it clearly: the body shaming, the damaged scalp, the choice she made at 18, all of it became lessons she refused to pass down. I had to go through this to teach my little one that you have to love yourself before anyone else will. There is a quiet moment that never made it to social media. Late one night after putting her daughter to bed, Countess sat alone in the dark living room and played an old episode of Moesha. She watched her younger self bounce across the screen, loud and fearless, delivering lines that once made the whole country laugh. For a few seconds, she just stared. Then she whispered, almost to herself, "You had no idea what was coming, but you made it anyway." That private conversation with her past self said more about her healing than any public statement ever could. In early 2026, a full circle moment arrived. To mark the 30th anniversary of Moesha, she reunited with Shar Jackson. The photos and videos of the 2 women laughing, hugging, and simply being together went viral. Fans called it friendship goals. For once, the internet was not dissecting her appearance. It was remembering the joy Kim and Niecy once gave so many living rooms. That reunion was more than nostalgia. It was living proof that some bonds formed in difficult years can still carry light decades later. Today, she remains active. She shares real pieces of her life on Instagram, singing, small acting roles, honest messages about self-love and healing. She has been open about her liposuction journey and the daily work of managing her thyroid. These were never about chasing perfection. They were about finally feeling at peace in a body the industry spent years teaching her to hate. She walks. She takes care of her health. She keeps showing up. She still sings. She still acts. And most importantly, she still tells her truth. The woman who once endured fat jokes on set, chemical burns from Wigs, a heartbreaking choice at 18, and the alleged violence behind closed doors has not allowed any of it to write her ending. She survived Hollywood's cruelty. She survived her body's rebellion. She survived the private hell that tried to break her. And through all of it, she chose to remain standing. The real shock was never how she looks today. The real shock is how much she carried in silence while the world only wanted the laughs. She did not disappear into the darkness that claims so many child stars. She lived, she learned, she protected her children, and she kept moving forward even when the world only wanted to look backward at Kim Parker. So now you know the full story. What do you think? Did Hollywood fail Countess Vaughn the most? Or did we, the audience, by only wanting the funny parts and never listening to the pain underneath? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. Be kind. If this story stayed with you, like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Next time, we're going even deeper into the real drama behind Moesha. Until then, take care of yourselves out there.